Hi, Esther.
Hi, Rachna.
I've been thinking about what we should chat about today, and one of the things that came to mind for me is when I was in college and I read this book, Why Men Love Bitches, and it had a really strong effect on me at the time
Mm.
because it worked. Um, it a lot of the techniques employed that I employed from the book would work on men, and they were essentially about making it seem like you just don't care, like you're a bad bitch. And I think, there's some sort of like spiritual implications of this phenomenon that I was hoping to look at with you.
Yeah, like again, an artificial replication of the feminine saying no, but in patriarchy, and I use that word very loosely, like in our societal hierarchical structure, keeping the man in control. So it's like a bit of a game with his psyche. She says no and acts all uncaring, that there's a challenge there, but really when it comes down to it, there is no challenge, and he's still very much in control, and he knows that, and so chooses a woman that is giving him a reward or punishment, um, but still always within a an idea that he's in control by what he does with his behavior. See, with the deep feminine, you're not in control of anything. You're all in. You're penetrated right into her. If your lingam is in the yoni, in the sacred yoni, as in if you're a man making contact with your deepest lingam, you're in life 100%. You're penetrated right into her with a capital H. When you're operating from preferences of behaviors that you think will give you a reward or a punishment, you're still choosing how much life you allow in. So you're not guided by the deeper divine template of your design, of your physiological and sacred design.
Hmm.
It's really funny. It is I mean, we were discussing it a little bit before. There is no such thing as pussy power
Hmm.
because the lingam is already inside.
Hmm.
And so, and on a level, men and women know this, but they pretend that there's um, something artificial in order to play the game of cat and mouse, you know?
Yeah. So what do you think the real game is?
Well, it isn't a game for starters. It's a grid, or it's some sort of setup, like as in it's already set, and it's also very fluid, but it's an energetic. The energetic moves, and they happen through the lingam and the yoni at the deepest level in the physical structure. So we're talking about in the physical structure, right? You can go around, you can go, I'm masculine because I what do masculine do? I don't know. What do they do? And I'm feminine because I protect. That's it, because I protect. Yeah, I protect because I'm masculine. And I am feminine because
I cook. I like to cook.
yeah, or I nurture, yeah. Um, but where does it exist in the body? Where does it exist in the physiological form? The lingam and the yoni. What place gets protected when the bodies come together? The genitals, her yoni, protected by the way that he introduces himself to it, you know? I mean, can you go around saying, I'm masculine and I'm very protective? I'm just going to rust right into you with a rock hard penis. And I mean, thank you for your protection at my most delicate, sensitive area. I mean, this is the ludicrousness that's going on. And then a woman's busy saying, you know, hey, you don't come into between these thighs, when, well, number one, energetically, she has a masculine lingam, so that's already over, right? And then, um, like I was saying to you, physiologically, unfortunately, the physical strength of a man can make that happen. That's what's so scary about it. That's why we rely on their nobility with it. um, and their sensitivity towards the environment that we house. However, her saying, believing that it also gives man the impression that he's a bad man for having desire for her, which is, something I have not worked, because it's not work, but tirelessly to reveal the true blueprint of yeah, um, his purity, his sexual purity in his desire.
And so then why do you think it appears to work when women give off this facade? It did appear to work for me to
Well,
work.
why do you think it worked if it appeared to work? I mean, if you're going to be using something and you think it's working, maybe you should think about why it worked. Because, yeah, why did it work, do you think?
Um, well, a lot of it is kind of threatening the man and making him feel like less of a man while um and you're doing it kind of outright as a woman, is you're making him feel like less of a man. So you're saying, this, you're putting him down, you're comparing him to other men, things like that. And you're saying how much better they were. You talk about how big, their penis is. Like the strategies that women know make men feel less than is what I think being the bad bitch, it's what she's going to employ.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about that is the man won't even see her as a bad bitch because on some level he's been raised to be treated like that. So he's already speaking to himself like that. He's already thinking he doesn't have a big enough appendage. He's already feeling like his desire is bad or he's not making as much money as Joe. He's already thinking that stuff. So the woman's allowed to do that. But the difference with the deep feminine is she speaks really honestly from a heartfelt place of her experience. And that is seen as masculine to him because it's unrecognizable She speaks from such an authentic love space in her body that it's unrecognizable. And so he's more drawn to a bad bitch. And really, like we were saying, it's got to do with reward and punishment. Oh, if I'm good, I get the goods. If I'm not, I don't. And the truth is, you never get the goods of a woman like that because she doesn't even have them. She's using them as a bartering. She doesn't even know the the full richness of herself. You would never barter yourself. What you would do is you would go within yourself and really be with yourself and love it yourself. You know, and like embody and like really know. I mean, really know what, like deeply seep into the wealth that you carry between your thighs. You wouldn't be sitting there going, "You don't come into my thighs." You would be so into your thighs, you wouldn't even be singing to anybody about "You don't come into my thighs."
Yeah.
You are the richness.
It's actually quite interesting because it's a way to add, like, it's a way to get perceived value, right? It's like you're not letting
Yeah.
him in because all of a sudden you become valuable as long as he doesn't come in.
As long as he doesn't come in, that's right. If he comes in,
Yeah,
what
it's
happens then?
over.
It's over.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't know what's in there. If you don't know what's in there, you're going to be exactly the same as every other, I'm sorry, genitalia around. That's what shocks me about this. It's like, do you understand the knowledge? Do you understand the gnosis that is here working with me? It's true. Like you will not, everything that you've wanted, whether or not they choose that, I mean, that I cannot guarantee because a man may choose to go with a regular vagina because he knows it and he feels secure with that one, with that vagina. I can't guarantee you that, but I can guarantee you that you will know
Mm.
what you've been given by God. You will know the preciousness. You won't be able to leave it. You will treat it with the most incredible protection and stewardship,
Mm.
you know. And in a way, you'll kind of go, well, if he wants, and you'll even go, well, if, and this is always a narrative, but if if that masculine wants a vagina, then that is, but that's not what I'm wanting in my yoni.
Mm.